Welcome to the Miracle You, guiding you on the journey towards finding passion and purpose and how to discover, create, and live a life by your design. Whether your success has been plentiful or your missed opportunities have been overwhelming, we can help you become a more empowered, masterful person and show you how to share your gift with the world. It's time to inspire change from within with the host of the Miracle You, Vince Kramer.
Hello, imagination. I'm Vince Kramer, your host, and welcome to the Miracle You, where you learn about the magic of living your life by finding the example in real life.
Despite what you've been told, what you believe, what you think is the truth in this world, we're not meant to do things alone. We're meant to be in community, to support each other in our growth, expansion, and our understanding of what the next step is in living the life that we're meant to live. We need to surround ourselves with people of like-mindedness and like-heartedness that hold at high energy, that are prepared to help us find our answers, to help us raise our vibration to create what it is that we want in life. One of those types of people, and I know you've heard about them a lot nowadays, is the coach. And if you can find a coach that can help you find your answers, open you up to a better understanding of yourself, help you live life more authentically, and share with you techniques for you to step even further into who you are, and then bring that person, the amazing, unique person that you are, to the world, things will happen for you faster. You will find that you are in a higher vibration more than not. You're able to be authentic and share yourself in a way that brings happiness, health, and abundance in your life. A coach can help you balance out your life, to help you find ways to make sure that you're not draining your energy all the time, but you're also bringing that vibration of yourself up so you can share more of you in the world. I'm with Nikole Stanfield today. Since 2014, Nikole has owned her own business and worked to improve herself through personal development. After personally experiencing burnout, she now helps successful entrepreneurs who struggle to take time away from their business to create a sustainable work-life balance. She believes that times both her and her clients are coaching, and in the end, it's not her job to know what is best for you or to give you advice. Her job is to create an open environment where you feel safe to create and explore opportunities that may seem wild and crazy. It's also her job to help shift your energy, uncover truths, and delve deeper into events and unconscious responses. Then she chooses to step back and let you talk your way through the experience. Nikole Stanfield, are you ready to share the miracle of you with the imagination?
Yes.
I'm so excited to have you here. And it's been a while that I've had someone that we can talk coaching. And I think it's really important to delve into the coach's world, especially with some of the beliefs that you have around coaching. So I can't wait to share with the imagination. But before we do, could you share a little bit more about you and what you're doing to make a difference in the world?
Yeah, thank you. I'm so excited to be here. So the thing I'm really passionate about and what I really want to help people and your listeners specifically here is that a lot of times we feel like we need to sacrifice our own needs for our success. And that kind of takes the back seat and we just have to push, push, push. And that's how we'll be successful. And that's how we'll reach our goals, etc. And this really shows up for entrepreneurs and it shows up for all of us. And that's one reason why I'm so passionate about sharing that I don't believe you have to sacrifice your success in order to have balance in your life. And that's one reason why I created a really quick little quiz to help people gauge where their balance is at, because sometimes we forget what balance can look like. And some of the things that I share, people think, oh, it should be this amazing, huge idea. And it's really a very simple things that we need to remember, things that we forget that are important. And so I start off by sharing what happened to me, and that was burning out in when I was 30, and I lost $20,000. I almost lost my business. I had to walk away from my biggest client, and those were really hard things. And it was really scary to be in that position and be there and say, "What is going on in my life? Like I have no idea, but something is happening." And some of the what that looked like for me was being frustrated when I would get an email from a client, or after a Zoom meeting, I would have to go and like just yell because I was so angry. And it's not like these are the typical signs of what burnout looks like. I didn't know I was burning out for like 6 months. And I would finish a project and I wouldn't be proud of it. I would just be like, oh, the client won't like it. And I would get to the end of my week and I knew I wasn't sick, but I would have no energy during my weekend to give to anything. I just didn't care. I just wanted to call in sick to life for everything.
Oh, I understand so much. So, we talk on Imagine Miracles a lot about wake up calls because they're really there to get our attention and to help us live life fully, to live an abundant life, a happy life, a healthy life. And sometimes that looks different ways for different people. When you had this wake up call of understanding and feeling like you were burnt out at 30 years old, I mean, there's a whole lot of life ahead of you to feel burnout at 30. How did that wake up call get your attention? And then what steps did you take to pay attention to it and really start taking action towards it?
It got my attention because I had all these signs about things that were going on, and I decided I was going to fix it by taking a week off. 1 week after like 4 years of no vacations. And that was going to fix everything. And I say that sarcastically because it didn't really fix anything. It just really brought to light that there was a much bigger problem going on. And it got my attention because I've always been someone that's very busy, that's very motivated, that's very energetic, that's doing a lot of things and involved in a lot of stuff. And I had nothing left to give. My well was so empty. I couldn't give to my family. I couldn't give creative ideas. I couldn't give suggestions. I had nothing left. And so it almost was a level of like shutdown. So that is what got my attention because it was really scary because I've never been there before.
So then what happened? Then what happened after that? Your eyes were opened, I'm sure, and you say, oh my God, I got to do something different because this isn't working. What was that process for you?
The hardest step, the first step, was that I had to acknowledge what wasn't serving me. That's coach speak for something that was draining my energy, that was toxic, that I really didn't want to do. And unfortunately, that was where I was making the most amount of money, of course. And I was holding on to that money and I really didn't want to let it go. And that was the first step towards me saying, you know what? I need to show up authentically. I was showing up very fake. I was trying to be the perfect person, entrepreneur, wife, whatever, insert thing here. And I wasn't listening to any of what I needed. And so I started to live more authentically, listen to what my body was telling me physically, simple things like taking a lunch break, taking a nap if I needed it, getting adequate sleep, getting exercise, those things that I hadn't been doing for so long. And it's not like it was huge things. It was just this small habits that I needed to start with in the beginning because I was working through my lunch and I would work for 12 hours and I wasn't taking breaks, and some of those small steps that we forget in our pursuit of our goals. So as I started to listen to that more and listen to my body, and not just that, also work on my mental health, So part of that was meditation, which I was very judgmental about before I started it. So some people that can look like prayer, and some people that can look like mindfulness meditation. It can look a lot of different ways, but it helped me shift my brain because I had trained it to react to everything. And it helped me shift it to being able to reflect and take that beat before I responded. Because before I felt out of control in a lot of situations. And with mindfulness meditation, it kind of helped me be like, okay, now I can respond and feel more in control of myself and kind of help my brain shut off sometimes when it kept going all the time. And so I did working with a coach, I did mental work, I did physical work, and I also did some emotional work with acknowledging, okay, I'm feeling this emotion right now, and I don't know where it's coming from, and I don't know what it means, or why am I feeling this way? Why am I feeling really sad? Or why am I feeling really angry or grumpy? So I started to realize with all the time reflecting that I was doing that a lot of times when I pushed myself too far, or I was like, I have to do more and more and more and more, the next day I would be so grumpy and just angry at everything, and nothing made me happy. And so now I know that when that happens, I push too far the day before, or I try to do too much, and that acknowledging I have limits and that I need to fill up my cup first because no one else is going to do it for me.
I appreciate what you've shared in many ways. And I'd like to tap into a couple of them for you to share how you feel about it in the experience. So one, I love what you said about the physical world, the mental world, the emotional world. We are multidimensional beings, and we have to balance that also. When we talk about a balanced life, so often we think about, well, I've got to make sure that I take this much time for my body, and this much time for rest, and this much time for work, and this much time for my family. And if they all are pretty close to equal, then I have a balanced life. And that's not necessarily true. It's balancing the multidimensionality of you, the inner side, the emotions, the mental, the physical, all of the inner stuff is really the importance in balancing. So I appreciate you shared that way. And then you said your authentic self. And what I like about what you shared about being your authentic self is really that's where our emotions come from. They're our communication system. They tell us when we're out of an alignment with who we truly are. And that's what you shared. As you were getting these messages from your emotional system, from your feelings, and your emotions were saying, look, Nikole, you're not in alignment. Where did you go from there? What was step 2, 3, and 4?
Honestly, the first part was freaking out and being mad. Why was I feeling this way? There wasn't a reason I should feel this way. I should get over it. Those are my initial thoughts about it, right? And so then the next step that I needed to do was to get perspective by working with a coach. And so working with a coach, a lot of times, as you said earlier, I don't necessarily need them to give me ideas, but I need them to be there and listen and be in a spot where they can care about me and my well-being without being someone that I'm related to or that I live with. And they can still give me that feedback. And a lot of times I needed to talk about it. I needed to do the reflective part. So part of the way that we learn and that our brains work is we're working through something that's different or new, or paying attention to those emotions, paying attention to where my energy level is at, those things that I needed to reflect on it. Okay, what happened when I had low energy? I was grumpy. Okay, so then next time that happens, oh, I did too much. So I need to pull back on this day. Sometimes our brains will tell us, like, we have 3 things to do on our list, but it's like, you need to do this too, and this, and this, and this. And when we work with a coach, we realize, oh, I'm having some negative self-talk, or my brain is telling me extra things to do. and we get that chance to kind of reflect and say, oh, is this serving me? Do I want to keep doing this? Or do I need to shift it? Or do I need to make it look different? How could this show up differently in my life? And it kind of gives you the options that previously you felt like you were in this like box and you couldn't really move. But working with someone else with feedback and suggestions and ideas helps you say, oh, it can look different. I don't have to berate myself because I didn't do 12 things today. I can say, oh, I did good because I did 4, 6, whatever that looks like. And I think that in the end, like big concept wise, I had to get to a place where I have value and worth regardless of the things that I accomplish.
Very powerful right there. Our worth has to come for who we are as an energetic being, and not for what we do or our titles or even sometimes how we show up for other people. It's more important how we show up for ourselves, because we're not going to show up for anyone else if we don't show up for us. So when you started that process, then when did you know, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't uncover this in my research, so I might be off base here. So if I am, please correct me. When did you decide that, okay, I want to be a coach?
Oh, that's fine. So in the beginning of, so I've been doing personal development since 2016, going to some conferences and things and like really diving deep into personal development. And I've been working with a coach in 2016. Still have that coach now. And in 2018, I realized that I wanted to shift from always, so I still get coaching because it's important to get coaching if you're going to give that support to other people. But I decided that I wanted to incorporate that into some of what I was doing. And it was a scary choice because I didn't know, what is this going to look like? How is this going to play out? Will I make money from this business, et cetera, all the head things. And so I named it intuition coaching because I was working on myself, listening to my intuition and what that meant for me. And I feel like when we burn out, we stop listening to our intuition, we stop listening to our bodies, our needs on a very base level, and you can only go on for so long with that. So part of finding balance is helping give people permission to listen to themselves and what they need.
Once again, a great answer and very powerful. We are the only ones, as you said in your marketing that you do, we're the only ones that have our answers. And it's learning, one, to tap into those answers and then trust them. And, you know, we have access to unlimited amount of knowledge in this universe. It's just trusting that we can tap into it, and trusting that, as you said earlier, it might be praying, that trusting that the answers, first of all, that we can get answers if we pray or if we meditate. And second of all, those answers, even if they don't fit with society, can be the right answers for us, because we're stuck so much on following other people's rules. So as you learned, okay, I've known this all along, from what you've shared, those intuitive hits that you had were there. You just had to have time to bounce them off of someone for you to say, okay, all right, now it makes sense. And somebody was there to support you, and instead of saying, no, that's not the way it is, they understood that it was your way. So tell us how the relationship you had with your coach has affected how you coach.
So a lot of times in our lives, we have people who love us around us. Like if you're really lucky, I have a lot of people around me who love me, right? And sometimes I don't feel like I can share some things with them because it might hurt their feelings. It might be some honesty, it might be some truth. I might not be ready to share it with them, or it might have some consequences for them. And I need to just get it off my chest without having it have a whole nother conversation with them. And so, what my coach, the relationship that I have with my current coach, that I've had since 2016, is that he's almost like a family member. I know that he cares about me, and I know that I can call him and get the support I need when I need it, and that I don't have to, I don't know how to say this, be worthy of it. I can just ask for it and receive it, and that he will be there for me. And I think that that's a really amazing gift. So that when I'm struggling with something or I'm wrestling with my own stuff and getting in my own way, and I mean, this happened last week and I got in my own way and I was just stewing in it and in the weeds. And it happens to us. And so it's like sometimes I can shift myself out of it. Sometimes I can have a conversation with someone. And sometimes I need the support of my coach to just be like, this is so frustrating for me. And this is what's showing up. And normally it's around frustrations. Normally it's not around, this is amazing. Please tell me all the amazing things. It's about, this is really frustrating in my life and I'm showing up in a way that I really don't want to. How can I shift this? How can I make it look different? And then he'll share what comes up for him out of what I've shared. Okay, you're saying this a lot, or you seem to be focusing on that, or I have this image of you running around beating on people, metaphorically, right? So whatever that looks like for him, and he can share that feedback, and then it gives me a different perspective to say, oh, I am showing up as I'm trying to control other people, or I'm trying to control the way that others express an emotion or show up in their lives when I can only really control myself. So this is more a mirror of the things that frustrate me is what I'm seeing in other people. Those are conversations that we've had multiple times that I continue to get to work on. Like, I want to make sure that anybody who's listening to this hears that I'm not saying this from up high, I have it all figured out. These are things that I'm continually working on, that I get to remind myself, that I get to work through. And sometimes I can figure it out, and sometimes I just can't shift my energy. And when I get stuck, then that's when my coach can help me. So if you're feeling stuck and you're feeling overwhelmed and you're like, I resonate with what you're saying, but I don't know what to do, that's an opportunity to find someone who can support you, who might be outside of your direct network, but who cares about you, or a coach or a mentor, someone who can fill in those positions.
I really like the what you shared and the way you shared it there, because one, we are all on a journey, and if the journey stops, our life is really over. So it's this journey that's continuing. So that we are going to grow. We're going to learn. There's going to be frustrations as we grow. If we're not frustrated, then we're not learning what we don't want. And that is so important to realize, that sometimes we have to learn what we don't want so we understand what it is that we do want.
Yes.
One thing I want to share, Nikole, is it's very unusual for somebody to have a coach for 6 years. And it brings up an opportunity to talk about something, because obviously your coach is expanding and growing as you expand and grow.
Mm-hmm.
Because if your coach isn't expanding and growing with you, there's going to be a time that you outgrow your coach.
Mm-hmm.
So what I want to ask of you is, how were you attracted to the coach that's made such a difference in your life?
Mm-hmm.
And then what would you like to share with the audience about finding the coach that's in alignment with who they are and where they want to go?
So this one kind of fell in my lap. I was at a part of a networking group, and this person was an electrician and started getting involved in personal development these conferences. And then he invited me to attend one. And I was kind of leery about it. And I was like, I don't really want to do the woo-woo stuff. Like that's not really me. But some of the benefits that he said about it, improving relationships, helping know how he communicates, helping him learn about himself deeper, that was intriguing enough for me to push through some of my resistance and objections to say, maybe I could check this out. And it was pretty intense, I'm not going to lie. Definitely did not expect what I got out of that weekend. And then I did a couple more of them, and they were also intense and a good way for me to challenge myself, how I was showing up, what I wanted it to look like, kind of shifting that I had any control over that instead of sort of just going through my life. So as that personal development journey happened, he was farther ahead of me in the program. And so part of their program was doing coaching. So we had built that relationship. And so that's why it kind of fell in my lap, is that he was like, hey, would you be one of my first clients? And I was like, sure, I don't know what I'm doing. Let's do this. And then as he went through the program and completed that and finished that, there were a lot of big things that were happening in my life at the same time. So I was really lucky that happened, because right after I did that, some really big things happened for me and in my life, and I really needed his support. So he helped me work through, so I had a lot of fears around marriage and that. And so I decided that maybe it would be okay if I could, if my boyfriend and I of 5 years got married. I know some people are going to laugh at that, and that's fine, but those were my fears. I had to work through fears around divorce. My maternal grandmother, who helped raise me, was on hospice. And so not knowing, when is she going to pass? Is she going to pass? What does that look like? So all of that. And then, of course, assets and what happens next and the next step. So, and then we also, my business doubled at the same time in this 1 year. And so getting his support, working through that, what was showing up for me, how I was frustrated with this person for what they were doing, and I didn't want this to happen, and I had no control over it, and how to manage that, and how to work through my emotions, and how to work with in my business, all these things, right? And shift into abundance. So that was when we worked together, like really intensely. We met every week, and I really, really needed that. And then we shifted a bit and met less frequently. So I guess when you were saying that it's unusual for someone to have a relationship for that long, it's not that we outgrew each other. It's that I didn't need the support as often. And as he definitely moved forward as well, because he decided to completely change his business model and go on the road as a performer and live in abundance and create all of his income based on being in abundance and that he could create it. I revere that. That's amazing. Not my thing. I can't quite just live in abundance by the seat of my pants. And so while he was very inspiring, doing what he was doing, I was able to still get that support when I needed it and things showed up for me. He had all that back history with me. So there's a part where he's kind of almost an extended family member because he knows me so well. And it gives me the ability to be really honest. And when I am struggling with something really deep or really personal, I feel like I can share it with him because I've built that trust for so long. And I know that he won't judge me no matter what I say.
I believe it's so important for all of us to have a coach and actually coaches for their different expertise and the different frustrations, as you say, that we all have. Tell us about you and your expertise, your lane as a coach, so people get to know you a little better.
Great. So the way I like to help entrepreneurs specifically because I've been an entrepreneur for so long. When I sit down and I have a conversation with people, my goal is to see what's showing up for them. There's certain things that I can't help them with. If they're struggling with, I am really successful and I'm making all this money, yet I'm not seeing the freedom that I started my own business for, or the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing, then that's a great place for me to come in and say, great, let's look at some small areas where we could add some balance. So then I can give them that value right away. And then if they want to say, you know what, I need to shift some mindset, I need to shift some of my habits, etc., I work with them through my 9-week course that takes them step by step through different areas that will help increase their balance and also challenge some paradigms that we have around how we work and why we feel like we have to sacrifice all these that are physical, emotional, mental health in order to make money, be successful, have all of that. I feel like that it can be more evenly balanced. One doesn't have to fall on the sword. And so that's where I have coaching as a part of my course. So as people are going through and I'm working with them and they're learning a concept, the way that you actually apply it in your life is by trying it, being frustrated, and then getting coaching to work through the challenges that are showing up for you. So it's like taking that concept, messing around with it and being like, how does this work for me? And that reflection piece with your coach, that's where you actually apply it to your life so that then your course and the lesson will last a long time and stick with you.
For sure. One of the most exciting things that you shared right there is it's a learning process and a growing process, and we have to do it with our coaches in a way that we feel comfortable, we feel supported, and we feel safe. And I suggest for each and every person to make sure that you are in alignment with the coach and the coach is in alignment with you. And probably one of the most important things that you need to ask your coach, like Nikole shared with us earlier, is are you going to give me the answers, or are you going to help me find my answers? Because that's huge. I call myself a mentor, a guide, and a coach, and each one of those has its place. But I think one of the most important things is when you have a mentor and they're telling you the way to do things, you're going to be a really good them, but you're not necessarily going to be a really good you, and the world needs you. And the world needs you, Nikole. And right now we need you to share something with the imagination that they take away from our time together today that's going to make a difference in their life. What would that be?
So the thing that impacted me the most recently, and maybe you need to hear this too, is that if you're feeling overwhelmed and rushed and you're just like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to make it, I'm not going to meet my goals, I'm not going to make it to where I want to be. What I recently was told was, you have time. So if you're feeling that overwhelm, if you're feeling that frustration and you're like, I need something, then take a beat, take a minute to 5 minutes, 10 minutes, drink your favorite beverage, find an app to play some music that's relaxing for you, whatever that is. And you get to remember that you have time, you can make it there, and that we're all working on something. And it may not get there right now, but you'll get there in the end. You're just not there yet.
Thank you for sharing that. And I don't care how old you are. We've had people in our programs at Imagine Miracles that are in their 80s still uncovering and making the difference that they're meant to make. And so it's never too late to take the time for you and still live your difference, even at an older age. But so many of us don't realize that when we're frustrated, when we're angry, when we're in the middle of despair, we're at a low vibration, and the things that we create aren't in alignment with us and aren't really making that difference in the world that you're being called to make, and the world wants you to make. And I want to thank you, Nikole Stanfield, for making the difference in the world that you're meant to make, and for your openness and your authenticity of showing people that it's a journey and coaches can help you through that journey. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Vince. I really appreciate it.
Before we go, can you tell people how to get in touch with you?
Yeah, so if they go to my website, myintuitioncoach.com/balance quiz, you can take that quiz that I talked about in the beginning. And it's really quick, like 2 minutes, and it just kind of helps give you a gauge of where you're at. If some of the things resonated that I shared with you today, then you can also go and apply to do a discovery session. And that's just an opportunity for me to get to know what's going on with you and see where you're at, where you'd like to be, and if I could help you get there.
Oh, so generous. Thank you so much for that. I'll make sure all that information is available on Nikole's show page. Just go to themiracleyou.com and that information will be available to you. Once again, thank you for being with us today. We surely appreciate it. On behalf of my wife and business partner, Mary, the entire team here at Imagine Miracles, we want to wish each and every one of you a miracle day.
You've completed this episode of The Miracle You, but we have plenty more to help you discover your own personal passion and purpose. Head over to themiracleyou.com for free resources to assist you on your journey, as well as register for our free webinar, Discover Your Miracle Life, 3 mind-awakening steps toward your unique purpose, or apply for a one-on-one Your Life, Your Way breakthrough session and discover your next best step on your journey. All available exclusively on our website. That's themiracleyou.com. We look forward to sharing more experiences of passion, purpose, and life by design next time, right here on The Miracle You.